Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig. And of course, the Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing, who will never sell you a roof you do not need, online at laportaroofing.com. Okay, so Kamala Harris and her allies, they got nothing, right? So now they're playing the sexism card. And they're really starting to go after Jesse Watters a lot. And Jesse Watters, with all the problems at Fox, and I've never been a big fan of Jesse Watters, okay, because he always seemed kind of like a immature fraternity guy. That whole situation with his first wife and how he met his new wife, I never have approved of any of that. I never really liked him too much, and I always thought he was kind of a jerk. Okay, I'm not saying he's not a jerk, but I've never been a big fan of his. But with all that being said, Jesse Watters, over the past few months, has been doing some of the best reporting on Trump on cable news, okay? And this whole campaign. And I would say a lot of the things that I talk about and other people like me talk about on YouTube, on podcasts, on the radio, the mainstream media, which Fox News is, don't cover them. Right? There's a lot of things they don't cover. I'm not going to go through a list, but you guys know what I mean. But Jesse Watters has been covering a lot of those things that no one else is covering, and he's been doing it the right way for the last few months, and he's been really good. And he made a comment about Kamala Harris that is a very true comment. And, of course, they're playing the sexism card. They want to bring Jesse Watters down because he's doing so well, right? He's doing well in the ratings, and he's promoting Trump in a very positive way. And when you are a conservative in general, especially a Trump MAGA conservative like I am or Jesse Watters is and some of these people, you have to be just expecting this crap. And you've got to, before you say anything, you've got to understand that there are people out there looking to twist your words into something else to try to bring you down because you're doing such a good job. So Jesse Watters said something. I'll read this to you. I'm not going to play the audio, but I'll read you what he said, and he had to take it back. On Monday, Jesse Watters said this about Kamala Harris. We don't know what she believes, which is true. We really have very little idea what she thinks about anything. Most of what we hear comes from interviews she did years ago. And people in her campaign leak things out, but she doesn't really say what she thinks too much. So we don't really know what she thinks about the things that are going on right now, okay? Jesse Watters received backlash on Monday after he said about Kamala Harris this, quote, "We don't know what she believes. She's going to get paralyzed in the Situation Room while the generals have their way with her." He said this on The Five. His female co-host immediately went after him. They told him to take it back. And Fox News made him do an apology on the air. And he went on The Five yesterday and said on television that his comments were not intended to be of a sexual nature. No one with their right mind thinks it was a sexual nature. Have their way with her. It did not mean. Now, if they got dirty minds and they're thinking that way, right? That's how they're thinking. But what he meant is she's out of her league. She's outclassed. And she gets in there with those generals, and they can tell her whatever they want to tell her and tell her this needs to be done, and this is the only option, and she'll do whatever it is they want because she's such a bird brain that the generals can do whatever they want. And that's not what you want, because you want the military to be under the civilian government, not the other way around. And, this is the beginning of something that's going to go on for the next couple of months. And then after her campaign is over and she's lost to Donald Trump, these things will start to disappear. But these are the things that we are going to have to deal with. So before you open your mouth, you just got to think what they're going to do. And let me tell you, Jesse Watters is number one on the list of the left to take off television. He's doing things that no one else is doing on television. It doesn't mean, everywhere else, online or anything. I mean on television. And I know there's people on Newsmax and a few people on Fox that like Trump and do the right thing. But I think Jesse Waters has been covering things in a way that nobody else is on television right now that I see. And when you reach that level, they want to take you off the air. And they are. If, God help us, Kamala were to win, they would take him off the air. He wouldn't survive it. Okay? It's going to get to a point where they just don't have a lot of time now because it's just over 2 months till the election. So once that's over, it's over. She's out. It's not going to matter so much. But between now and the election, Jesse Waters has got to watch what he says. He's got a lot of baggage. That whole story about letting the tires out of the or letting the air out of the girl's tires when he was married, and all that story in the parking garage and hanging out and stalking to rescue. All those things will come back to haunt him if they want to get rid of him. And we've seen what the Democrats have been doing. That they put investigators after Robert Kennedy Jr. They went to people that were in his AA meetings 30, 40 years ago. I don't even know how they know who was in his AA meetings 30, 40 years ago. But they found them, and they found his AA sponsor from 35 years ago. How do they even do that? There's no record of that. That's like anonymous stuff, but they were able to find it. What they did to Trump yesterday, Jack Smith coming out with another. These people, they have a very limited window, and they're like wild caged animals, and they're out of control. Now, there's an article in the Daily Mail about Zuckerberg that is a pretty interesting thing, okay? And I know that the knee-jerk reaction to all of you out there is going to be what mine was, that this article cannot be true. I'll tell you what it says in a minute. But, this letter that Zuckerberg released yesterday talking about how Biden and Kamala Harris and their administrations put pressure on him to silence people, to censor discussions that they didn't want discussed, and the laptop and all this stuff. That's a pretty big deal. And I was pretty shocked that Zuckerberg did that. I really was. That is not the kind of thing that he would do. And I call it the confession letter. And I know a lot of people have been, a lot of conservatives, and a lot of MAGA people have really been going after Zuckerberg after he made this admission yesterday. And I think it was Catturd. Pretty sure it was Catturd put on Twitter or X. Catturd said, should Mark Zuckerberg be arrested? All right, so go to jail. And I'm not saying that Mark Zuckerberg is not a bad guy. He's a bad dude. But he came out with that letter, which he did not have to do. And there's an article in the Daily Mail today. Let's go through this. It's the headline is, how Mark Zuckerberg is moving to MAGA after being called a secret Republican in 2013. And that's the headline. Mark Zuckerberg's bombshell letter to Congress calling the Biden administration censorship campaign wrong may signal yet another rightward shift into his politics. Okay, now remember, he's a big donor. He did what he did for Biden, and he backed Obama. But they write here, Zuckerberg has spent more recent years appearing on right-leaning podcasts, mingling with MAGA-supporting UFC fighters, and calling Donald Trump a badass, Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg has even struck up friendships with Trump's longtime ally, Dana White, who's the president of the UFC, who introduced Trump at the Republican convention. So, I mean, this is something. Trump himself has claimed that Zuckerberg has called him a lot during this election cycle for candid private talks. I've heard that, from Trump. While the 40-year-old has declined to endorse a candidate, his actions have left many questioning his stances. Now, him not endorsing is an endorsement because he's always been openly behind Democrats. And this letter where he just confessed to these pressures that they caved to from Biden, to me, that's like an endorsement of Trump. And it's also an indicator that he who has access, Zuckerberg has access to all the internal polls that we don't see. I don't think he would release that letter if he did not think Trump was going to win, because if he put that letter out and the Democrats are in, he'd be in big trouble. Whatever the truth behind the speculation, Zuckerberg's political donations for 2024 have dropped dramatically as his once generous interest in giving to progressive causes and candidates has waned. His apparent shift in politics has coincided with a physical makeover, with Zuckerberg trading his comfortable dorm room hooded sweatshirts and Adidas flip-flops and for sun-kissed Gen Z curls and fitted shirts with gold chains. So he's looking tougher, they say. He's gotten involved in mixed martial arts training with all those UFC guys, and those are all Trump people. You see them; they call out to Trump from the ring. So he's associating with very openly pro-Trump MAGA people. In his letter to the Judiciary Committee on Monday, Zuckerberg says he regrets that Facebook and other social apps owned by its parent company were not more outspoken in their opposition to censorship. Isn't that something? We made some choices that, with the benefit of hindsight and new information, we wouldn't make them today, Zuckerberg said. I also wonder, does Elon Musk have a lot to do with this? Right? Elon Musk, since he bought Twitter and turned it into X, is a free speech zone, and it's thriving. And maybe that's been a bit of a wake-up call. The comments, they go on, but that the CEOs came just weeks after his comments talking about Trump's resilience in the fate of the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. Seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life, Zuckerberg said during an interview with Bloomberg in California at the Meta headquarters. On some level, as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight, Zuckerberg said to Bloomberg. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy. Zuckerberg stopped short of an endorsement. He says, I'm not planning on endorsing at this time, and that includes not endorsing either of the candidates. Zuckerberg has also made it plain that this election cycle that he won't be repeating anything like the donations he made. Remember, he donated $400 million. He donated $400 million to nonprofits, and we know about all that. So the headline seems ridiculous on the face of it, right? How Mark Zuckerberg is moving to MAGA, but maybe he is, right? And I'll tell you, not just by the things he says, but by the people he's hanging out with. Think about it. Kathy and I do not have liberals that we hang out with. We might have some deranged people in our family, but we don't hang around with them except at holidays, and then we try not to talk about politics. But we don't choose to associate with liberal people. And the reason that people don't associate with others who differ from them politically is not that they hate the other side. If you are MAGA, you have nothing in common with a liberal. They think you're a racist. They think you're this. They think you're that. You see the world in a different way. They support all kinds of weirdo things that you don't support. Conservatives and liberals really do not mingle, especially when it's someone like Zuckerberg who's so out there and so known to be who he is and what he is. So I think this headline, how Mark Zuckerberg is moving to MAGA, that may be more true than that you might want to believe. And I'll tell you, I know a lot of you listening are saying right now that I'm nuts. And you might leave me some comments about that because of all these things he's done. But a lot of people, because he's 40 years old now, right? Most people, not everyone, but most people when they're young are liberal, and they grow up and they mature and they become conservatives because their brain finally stops developing. They grow up and they see the world in a more realistic light. So I'm not saying that Mark Zuckerberg is MAGA, but I think he's leaning MAGA and he is leaning conservative because he wouldn't be saying these things about Trump. If he was a liberal still, he wouldn't be having private phone conversations with Trump right now. He'd be out to destroy him, okay? And I know Facebook was censoring the ads for the Reagan movie and all that with Dennis Quaid, but I don't know what kind of role Zuckerberg plays in Facebook these days. I don't know if he has any role day to day. I don't know. But when you go through all these examples they gave in the article, how could you not say that he is leaning MAGA right now? I mean, look at Robert Kennedy Jr., right? Look at Tulsi Gabbard, right? And J.D. Vance had even said things about Trump in the past, right? So, and they've all changed their tune. Tulsi Gabbard was in the Democrat debate 4 years ago, right? With Biden and Kamala and everyone. And now look, she's with Trump at Mar-a-Lago traveling around. So a lot of people have woken up, and a lot of it has to do with the assassination attempt on President Trump. Not just because he got up and was all badass. I think everyone in this country believes that the deep state, that our own government tried to assassinate President Trump. I haven't heard anyone say they don't believe that. So you guys let me know what you think about all of that in the comments. And I want to tell you, Mike Lindell, I saw him on TV, he's growing the mustache back. Mike Lindell at MyPillow, of course, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can save up to 80% off throughout the MyPillow.com website with our promo code Kane. But the MyPillow that started it all is just $19.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And also free shipping site-wide on orders over $75. And just to tell you quickly about the MyPillow, I have the original MyPillow that we got years ago before we had our promo code, before Mike Lindell and MyPillow were sponsoring us. And I think we paid like $65 for that pillow, something around there. And now you can get that same pillow for just $19.98. And that original MyPillow, we still have it. It looks like the day we got it because everything Mike Lindell makes is high quality and made to last. And it's machine washable and dryable. It makes a great Christmas gift. And I know it's August right now, but hey, Kathy and I, we do our Christmas shopping. We start in the summertime. And the reason we do that is so by the time Christmas gets here, we got everything and we don't have to do a bunch of laying out of cash for stuff as you get closer. And when you give people a MyPillow, it is a gift they will remember for years. And I was talking this morning on the radio. I went to my mother's house on Saturday. And she lives in the house I grew up in, and I had not been to that house. She comes here, but I haven't gone to my old house where she lives in a while. And she took me in her bedroom, which part of it used to be mine. When I grew up and moved out of the house, my parents, their bedroom was next to mine. They knocked down the wall between the bedrooms and expanded their bedroom and made it bigger. So my mom's bed is actually in what used to be my bedroom. But anyway, she took me in the bedroom to show me some old family picture she came across. And she had the MyPillow on her bed that we got her for Mother's Day, I don't know how many years ago, but she's had it for years. And she made a comment about it right away. So MyPillows are gifts that people will keep for years to come, and they'll tell you about them for years to come, unlike most of the gifts that people forget. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and get your MyPillow for just $19.98. My name's Brian. Obviously, Kathy not with us today. She's under the weather. We will take our first break. Don't go anywhere and be back. There's much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Step back in time to old New York City, where one kosher deli served up more than just great food. It dished out stories that span generations. From author Norman K. Nelson comes the heartwarming and humorous book, The Salami Cutters of Washington Heights, available on Amazon. Picture this, early 1900s New York City. Morris and Al, fresh off the boat from Russia, set up shop on the corner of 170th Street and Broadway in Washington Heights. They're armed with their big personalities, a boatload of relatives, and a dream. They knew one thing for sure. They were going to make it, no matter what. The Salami Cutters of Washington Heights is a collection of stories that takes you behind the counter of Nelson's Restaurant, the beloved kosher deli that became a neighborhood mainstay for over 70 years. These stories are packed with fun, laughter, secret family recipes, and colorful anecdotes about the people who made the place unforgettable. Family, friends, and staff, as well as the crazy New Yorkers who left their indelible mark. Don't miss out on these stories that have been shared around the Nelson family table for decades. The Salami Cutters of Washington Heights from author Norman K. Nelson is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Take a bite out of history. Order your copy right now. Are you ready to elevate your health and your wellness? Look no further than Nutrix-U, the ultimate destination for top quality supplements and personal care products that are designed to help you look and feel your very best. Whether you're pushing the limits at the gym, striving to have radiant, beautiful skin, or just looking to boost your overall health, from their powerful fat burners to specialized supplements, you can revolutionize yourself from the inside out with their premium protein and collagen collection. You'll experience stronger hair, healthier skin, and enhanced joint health with their expertly formulated products. You'll feel your best with each and every step. Their personal care and beauty collection is designed to enhance your natural shine and will help you radiate confidence every day. Founded by a father and his son, they're dedicated to elevate every day, combining the power of nature and science to bring you the best in health and wellness. Whether you're a busy professional, a dedicated athlete, or seeking a healthier lifestyle, Nutrix-U will support you with trusted, effective supplements. If you're ready to fuel your workout, have peak performance, unleash your potential, maximize gains, and push your limits, visit Nutrixu.com. That's Nutrixu, and take your wellness journey to the next level. Nutrixu.com. Are you obsessed with the thought of what's next in your career path? Do you get terrified when you think about, what if they fire me? You're not alone, but there is help in the book, I Was Fired 7 Times, on Amazon. Go to Amazon right now and search I Was Fired 7 Times. That's I Was Fired 7 Times on Amazon, and get exceptional personal advice from someone who was fired 7 times. 7 chapters and 3 hours reading, and get out of that vicious cycle right now. I Was Fired 7 Times on Amazon, free for Kindle Unlimited readers. Also available in paperback and hardcover editions. I Was Fired 7 Times. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Author Anthony L. Abraham will take you on a mind-bending journey where nightmares take shape and sinister stories and twisted tales. The ultimate anthology of sci-fi and cosmic horror. Available on Amazon. Sinister Stories and Twisted Tales is a mind-bending journey that will leave you questioning everything. You'll navigate the dark corridors of the human psyche. You'll experience a mother's desperate fight to save her son, a man's pursuit of forbidden technology to protect his daughter, and the quiet terror of 57 minutes. In Smiley Face, betrayal and revenge take on a terrifying new form. Each story in this anthology is an unsettling, thought-provoking exploration into the unknown. It's perfect for fans of Black Mirror, The Twilight Zone, and the works of Philip K. Dick, H.P. Lovecraft, and Stephen King. Sinister Stories and Twisted Tales, the ultimate anthology of sci-fi and cosmic horror, from author Anthony L. Abraham, is available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, and not today, joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Kathy's here, but she's under the weather and can't join us on the podcast, but she's right across from me. But Kathy had told me during the break about with Zuckerberg and Tulsi and Bobby Kennedy Jr., that it's really like a red pilling of America at a level that has not occurred before. And I think it all has to do, and Kathy agreed with this, with the assassination attempt. Everyone knows that what's happened is they've woken up to the deep state, is what's happened. And Mark Zuckerberg, 4 years ago, was like part of the deep state, right? And he's woken up to it and how bad they are. This is really an amazing thing. You know, this walk away movement that Brandon Straka started was a good movement, but now the people that are walking away are the Democrat liberal elite. Zuckerberg, the Kennedys, Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy said that there are members in his family supporting him. He didn't say who. Tulsi's Kennedy. It's really amazing. Now, there's Megyn Kelly, who's really is like becoming bigger and bigger all the time. She's huge. I was reading earlier this week that her online audience is larger than ABC and NBC News combined. Isn't that something? It's really amazing. And, she's wishy-washy when it comes to Trump, so you got to keep your eye on her. But she's getting a lot of influence, and she was talking about Caitlin Collins over at CNN. And this is what she said. Megyn Kelly said this about CNN's Caitlin Collins. She's a cold-hearted bee who should smile more often because she's boring with no personality. Now, Caitlin Collins, she's been doing all these interviews lately, and she went on Colbert and got humiliated, right? I mean, that was a couple weeks ago, last week before, and it was the audience was laughing at her. And Caitlin Collins, she did that town hall months ago with Trump, and he cleaned her clock. She had all these Trump derangement syndrome suffering talking points, and she was destroyed on that live town hall on CNN, and somehow they still promoted her and gave her her primetime show on CNN, even though Trump cleaned her clock. But the thing is, Trump did that live. He didn't know what she was going to ask. He did it live. He was in front of the CNN audience in the studio, Caitlin Collins. He was on the stage, sitting in a chair with no one around him. And here's Kamala Harris going to CNN, a friendly place for her, and she's going to have Tim Walz as her backup man.
I think what's happening is people are waking up to the deep state finally. People that denied it.
Yeah.
And CNN and their role in things, because she was on shows and she was laughed at because she was saying how CNN was so fair.
Yeah, fair and balanced.
She really
and
believes
real news.
that. And the audience laughed at her multiple times on different shows.
Yeah.
And that tells me that, and these audiences are usually pretty liberal, that even they are understanding all the lies and things that they've said about Trump, that, and they can see it now. And it's a joke. The big star on CNN, and if they were smart, they'd give this guy his own show, is this Scott guy.
Scott Jennings.
He is becoming their big star. He's a conservative. He's always defending Trump. He's very good.
Yeah.
He's very good. I have not seen many people argue as well as this guy. And if CNN was smart, I know I'm not feeling well, but I had to chime in. They would give this guy a primetime show against Jesse Waters. And I think it would give him a run for his money. That's how good this guy is.
Yeah, he's good.
He is always on X being tweeted, and he is a rising star at that network. But I don't think they'd ever do that because he's too conservative and he's too smart. But Fox should try to take him from them. If they were smart, somebody should snag this guy up. He's really popular. He's really good. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't see multiple tweets about this guy and things he has said that have owned the left. And when he says something, they don't know what to say. He's that good. Like, they don't have a response. And all he does is tell the truth. But he speaks with authority and confidence and a sense of humor. And he's fantastic.
Well, what he's doing, you're right. He has a lot of good one-liners and he's funny. But he does something that J.D. Vance has been doing. Like, if you watched J.D. Vance over the weekend, he was on the Sunday shows again, right? And what they do is like, he was on Meet the Press, J.D. Vance, and this is what Jennings does on CNN, a very similar thing. And they'll read him a quote from someone, right? And then want him to defend the quote or give his opinion on the quote. And what he says is, well, first off, I don't know the context of that, right? And Jennings and J.D. Vance, see, they're doing interviews. Both of them are handling themselves on these liberal cable networks in a way that the people on the news haven't dealt with before, okay? And I'm pretty good at debating in public. You guys have heard me on the air doing it for many, many years. What J.D. Vance and Jennings are doing is they're not accepting the false premises that are being handed to them by the liberals that they're being interviewed by or on TV with, right? And they feed it back to them. And liberals, when you feed back to a liberal what they're supporting, it falls apart. Like I had today, Renee from Harlem came in, and he's like, I'm supporting Kamala. And I said, well, what's her positions? And he said, Medicare for all, right? And if I'm not going to go through the whole discussion, you can go on my YouTube video today and see it. It was around, it was sometime between 8 and 8:30 this morning. But I walked him through to explain, well, what does that mean? You know, he's like, well, everybody who has health problems will have health care. So I said, who do you know who has needed medical care, needed to see a doctor, and was denied in the United States, and he couldn't think of anybody, right? We went back. He hung up. He was and Jennings and J.D. Vance are handling these big-time people that way, and they're not used to it. You know, and you go on, you know, when you're a conservative on these CNN panels like Jennings, you're outnumbered. You're outnumbered 4-5 to 1, right? And you only have like 2 seconds to say something. And he has these, I would call them zingers.
Bill Maher calls him Lonely Scott.
Yeah.
Because
he's that's a good name for him.
He said that to Caitlin Collins because she was trying to be like, we're all balanced.
Yeah.
He said you got 5 liberals with 1 conservative. Of course, Bill Maher does the same thing. Maybe he's changed his show.
No.
But he fills his audience with liberals too.
Yeah.
But he said, I call him Lonely Scott because he's the lone Republican you have there against 5 other people. Once in a while, they'll bring in another person that's conservative, but that other person tiptoes too much. A lot of these people are just afraid of losing their job, and they're afraid to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty fearless, and he doesn't care. He says the truth, and he's really good at discussing issues with these people, like I said, and like in a way where they don't know how to retaliate, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
They don't have a comeback because he gives them truth and they know it's true.
Yeah.
And he basically says everything they say to him is predicated on a lie. And they really believe these lies. Like Caitlin Collins and the people at CNN, they really are brainwashed and drinking the Kool-Aid, and they really believe, you know, Rachel Maddow, she probably still believes there is a Russian dossier.
Yeah, she probably does.
And that hookers peed on Trump.
Yeah.
And that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation.
I'm sure she believes
She
it.
probably still believes that stuff.
Yeah.
But the American people see that 50-something intelligence officers lied to the American people and said that that laptop wasn't real. And then it came out that it was real. We know what's going on. And I think when they tried to kill Trump, I think we can all agree what happened there. And I think people collectively, and him joining forces with RFK and Tulsi, that's the art of the deal. But it's also because of that, and Mark Zuckerberg, that attempt on his life. It was like everybody woke up and got red pilled. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody woke up out of their liberal haze.
That's exactly
and
right.
And snapped out of it. And we're like, holy crap. Like everything Trump's been saying is true.
Yep.
And Andrew McCarthy said this case with Jack Smith is going to go nowhere. He said it's going to go absolutely nowhere.
Kathy,
it's just an ego exercise.
Before I forget, you're talking about the intelligence officers that signed off that's on that letter that said the laptop was Russian disinformation, which we know is not true now.
Yeah, they just flat out
I want
lied.
you guys to understand this. I want you to think about this, okay? Dana Bash's husband is one of those intelligence officials who signed that letter. Dana Bash, who's interviewing Kamala Harris with Tim Walz tomorrow.
But who knows?
Kathy,
they could still be a thing.
One CIA, always CIA.
Yeah.
Okay? And the fact that her husband signed that letter and she's interviewing Kamala Harris, the world's small, but it ain't that small. What are the odds of that? None of this stuff's by accident. This interview with Kamala Harris with Tim Walz by her side, I was talking about this morning,
It's
Kathy.
a really bad look.
It's a bad look. You know what I was saying about this is it's not just that Kamala's a bird brain. We understand this. But Kamala has gotten through life with sugar daddies. We know this, right? And if she needs something or is in trouble, she leans on a man, and she's terrified of this interview.
Well, Scott Jennings said,
I don't even think she realizes leaning on a man like this is a bad look, because that's all she knows. She's a sugar baby.
She's not a tough woman. She's not an independent woman at all. She's the opposite of what they're trying to make her out to be. And Scott Jennings put it very well. He said it shows a severe lack of confidence in her. And
it's very weak.
What Jesse Waters said was not, I'm not a fan of his because I think he's juvenile, but he has been killing it lately with his coverage of what's happening. And he's really been going after Biden and all of them, like really good. But he's just juvenile and immature with his wording. And I don't think the way he worded what he said was smart, but I don't think he meant it that way. But Scott Jennings just worded things better. And he said that's it's a lack of confidence on her part, which is very true and insightful for him to say that, because she is terrified of being interviewed by somebody who's very friendly to the Democrats. Mm-hmm. And I really feel that this debate with her and Trump, I think she's going to be, I could be wrong. I am predicting she will be heavily under the influence.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's Xanax or booze or whatever, because she will be so petrified. I mean, I've experienced anxiety like that, where, I have anxiety disorder. I've had it for a long time, that I struggle with that. And I have had panic attacks so bad, like I thought I was like losing my mind. Like I could not calm down. It would take like hours to calm me down. Just because I've had a lot of health problems and I've had a lot of issues that have been scary. So I know what it's like. I'm sure a lot of you do, to have that kind of fear. And it's building. So this is like, there's a lot of anticipatory fear going on with her. And the fact that Trump's got Tulsi Gabbard and all these people, it's messing with her head, I promise you. And when you have a big event coming up that you're afraid of, she's probably afraid of public speaking, first of all. And now she's got to debate Trump. I think she's way in over her head,
and she
like
knows
Jesse Waters said, and she knows it. I think she wakes up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, terrified about this debate. And I would not be surprised if she showed up drunk off her ass or whatever to handle them. Remember when Kim Basinger went to the Academy Awards? She got an Academy Award for LA Confidential, and she struggled with anxiety. And she got up. She was married to Alec Baldwin, and she got up to get the award. She was so hammered. She could hardly walk up the stage. Her husband had to come and get her because she was embarrassing herself. And she said later she took Xanax and drank because she was so terrified of walking on that stage. And, she did too much. I could see that happening. We'll see. Maybe she'll surprise everybody. But if she can't do an interview that's pre-recorded with a very Democrat-friendly interviewer by herself, that's a very bad look for a
Kathy,
woman. I mean, how is that making women look good?
When you're at the level that she fell into here, all right, and she's vice president of the United States, she's running for president, she's the nominee, she wants to be the president of the United States of America, and she walks in with the protection of a man when she's doing a friendly interview, by the way, on a friendly network with a friendly liberal interviewer.
Do you think she has imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, she does. And she's at that point now. Now, this is an indication that she knows something's wrong. But as I was telling you at the beginning of this discussion, she's always went to men when she's needed something. So I don't know if she realized anything was wrong with doing that. This interview, no matter how much of a puff piece they make it, it's going to be a disaster for her. It's one of those moments in a presidential campaign where it's one of those jump the shark moments that they are not able to take back. This is a very, very stupid thing that they're doing with this interview.
There is no way Hillary Clinton respects this woman. And Hillary Clinton spoke at the DNC convention. Nancy Pelosi, I know Hillary Clinton kind of rode her husband's coattails, and I understand that. But she could make speeches on her own and do interviews on her own.
Yeah.
Quite, she did them all the time. There is no way Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and these women in these positions of power think this is a good idea. But maybe this is, I don't know if this is what I'm curious about. Do you think that this was Kamala's idea or her handler's idea because they're too afraid she'll F it up? You know what I mean? I'm thinking the handlers.
I mean, yeah,
or a combination. But I'm wondering if it's her saying, I will not do it without him. Or if it's her handlers saying she cannot do this alone. It's either a mix or one or the other.
I think they set it up, and they set it up this way and just told her, and I don't think she thought anything of it. I think, I mean, she knows now because everyone's been talking about
goes where they point.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's just what you want in a president, right? Someone that goes where they're told to go. It's a big disaster. It was a major mistake for her to do it. I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Listen, this is hurricane season. It's also rainy season here in Florida. It's the same thing. In fact, right now, out of our window, the sky is dark. It's the afternoon. It's about to rain. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof. Tom Laporta does both residential and commercial roofing. He's a good MAGA guy. He works on every type of building. He works with every type of roofing material. If you don't need a new roof, he won't sell you a new roof. He'll do just a simple repair. He's the only roofer I've ever heard of who says that he will not sell you a roof you do not need. He covers the entire state of Florida, and he does incredible work. I've seen what he's done to Steve Kane's house. When I was on the cruise, there were a couple guys on the cruise that both had roofs done by Tom Laporta. They love them. They were raving about him. He does incredible work. And he's got a nice-sized company, but he gives you his cell phone number, which is so unusual, isn't it, for somebody in that business? Give him a call. This is his cell phone number, 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. That's Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. Make sure that you tell him that Brian sent you. Okay, we're going to take our last break. Kathy's joined us in progress. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll take our last break and come back. There's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Are you looking to elevate your space with stunning canvas wall art? Then check out Hang Tight Studios on Etsy.com, where art meets quality and style. From modern abstract designs to serene nature-inspired designs, Hang Tight Studios has a diverse collection that suits every taste and home decor. Everything at Hang Tight Studios is carefully crafted with high-quality materials, ensuring that it not only looks amazing, but stands the test of time. Explore the collection today at hangtightstudios.etsy.com. You'll find the perfect art to bring your walls to life. They have everything from wildflower and lavender landscapes to coastal and mountain scenes. There's something for everyone. You'll find great gifts and incredible pieces for your office and business too. Start shopping right now at hangtightstudios.etsy.com. Shipping is fast and great customer service is guaranteed. hangtightstudios.etsy.com, where you will find art for every wall. hangtightstudios.etsy.com. Attention parents, grandparents, and teachers. From author Kiko Liang comes a delightful new children's book that you will want to add to your child's reading list. I Am Me, children's book for ages 3 to 9. Self-discovery adventure, build confidence, and unleash creativity. On Amazon, I Am Me invites young readers to immerse themselves into the story as if they were the main character. They'll experience an adventure that teaches them valuable life lessons. They'll learn to embrace their unique inner passions, how to overcome negative feedback, build confidence, and unleash their creativity. It's also a perfect choice for parents and grandparents who are looking to inspire and educate young minds. Order your copy today and let the adventure begin. I Am Me, children's book for ages 3 to 9. Self-discovery adventure, build confidence, and unleash creativity. From author Kiko Liang on Amazon. Transform your living space with stunning digital art from Mipsilon Premium Arts on Etsy. Whether you're looking for vintage charm or modern flair, they have the perfect piece to make your home or office lively all year long. At Mipsilon Premium Arts on Etsy, you'll find something for every season and every occasion. Summertime at the beach, Christmas, spring flowers, fall trees, pumpkins, cats, sailboats, beautiful sunflowers, and that's just the beginning. Everything is available for instant download, and right now they're offering a 45% off special shop-wide. Start shopping right now. Visit MipsilonPremiumArts.etsy.com. That's MIPSILON, MipsilonPremiumArts.etsy.com. Bring your home or office to life with beautiful framed TV and wall art. MipsilonPremiumArts.etsy.com. Are you a business owner, large or small? Or do you work from home? Then listen up. Universal Shop Limited is your home for all the business tools you need for your company's success. Universal Shop Limited provide essential tools for all businesses. From eye-catching marketing templates to efficient organizational tools, they have everything you're looking for your company. Check out their best-selling Small Business Organizer, the ultimate planner for startup owners, with sections for goal setting, financial planning, and day-to-day operations. Their virtual shelves are filled with digital tools that are meticulously crafted to empower you and your business. Their inventory includes product inventory trackers, printable cash receipts, monthly bill trackers, and so much more. Whether you need a work-from-home planner or a digital food inventory tracker, Universal Shop Limited has what you're searching for. Visit the Etsy shop right now, online at universalshoplimited.etsy.com, and elevate your business to new heights. Universal Shop Limited.etsy.com, empowering your business with the tools for success. Find everything your business needs right now at universalshoplimited.etsy.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. You know, right now as we're speaking, J.D. Vance, he's having his second rally in 2 days. Yesterday, he was in Michigan, and thousands of people showed up in Michigan to see J.D. Vance, which just blew me away because he was by himself, right? He didn't have Trump with him. He was by himself, and thousands of people turned out in Michigan. Today, right now, as I'm talking, J.D. Vance is speaking in Pennsylvania, right? Is it Pennsylvania, Kathy? And he's taking questions from the audience. He, you know, it's like me with the screenless calls. He doesn't know who they are, what they're going to ask, and he's got to deal with it. You know, J.D. Vance it's not a coincidence he's doing that. He's showing the difference between Trump, because Trump does that, right? He's showing the difference between Trump himself and Waltz and Kamala. Waltz hasn't taken any questions or done interviews either, right? And what they're hiding from is everything with these two people. Now, before we get back to the issues, I'm just going to tell. I'm not going to tell you who yet. I'll tell you that down the road. But the radio station sent me off to get hormone treatments today, and I had my testosterone checked, and I have low testosterone, Kathy. I have low testosterone, and they tested my testosterone level and some other things too. They did labs, right? And one of the things they tested was
I think it's common at guys your age. What'd you call it?
Low T.
No, but I'm going through. You said it's andropause.
Oh, women have menopause. Men go through andropause.
See, I'm going through menopause now, and it sucks. And I cannot take estrogen because of my pulmonary hypertension. I'm not allowed to take hormones because they cause blood clots. So I just have to suffer. And I'm dealing with, and on top of my illness, it's just compounded everything. But you seem better already.
Yeah, I know. I know. I
don't know. You just seem your mood's a little better.
This, by the way, this isn't a commercial. It will be because they're advertising on the radio station.
In a peppier mood today. So
I went to see them, and I met with the doctor. They gave me the blood work. They told me everything. And they gave me the an injection, like a shot in the arm. And I said, well, how long is it going to be till I notice a difference? And they said, a week or so. And, and I feel like so much better already, Kathy. And it's only been 4 hours?
You really do seem a little
It's
happier.
crazy.
It really affects your mood when your hormones
It's crazy.
decline. And it really hits you in your 50s.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's, it affects your mood. It affects your sleep. I notice you've been having trouble sleeping the last few months. And not sleeping as well as you used to.
It's not that I'm not sleeping well. I'm not sleeping very long as I used to.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I'm sleeping less.
You used to.
I'm waking up in the middle of the night and starting
in fact,
my day.
You've had to go to bed a lot earlier in the last few months to make up because you keep waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning no matter what. So
yeah.
I said to you, well, you better go to bed at 7 because then you'll get at least 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's what you've been doing because before you were staying up till 10 and getting up at 1. I'm like, well, you can't function on 3 hours of sleep for too long. So, but before you would sleep until 3.
Yeah.
And if you got up at 1, you could go back to sleep. So last night you woke up at 1:45. I was still awake because I'm going through menopause. I'm having trouble sleeping. So I lay in bed for hours
getting older, Kathy.
trying to sleep. It stinks. And I was listening to Charles Stanley on my earbuds, and I lean over and I see you're in your phone. It was like 1:45, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're up already? And you're like, yeah, I just can't sleep, and I'm just can't go back to sleep. And this has been going on for a few months. So I'm hoping that this treatment helps your mood a little bit, and not that you're in a bad mood, but does. These do help you affect your mood a little bit, but mainly your sleep.
Yeah,
I hope it helps your sleep.
Yeah, well, I get almost so
and energy levels.
So and I'll tell you where all about it down the road. Okay, guys, I just had the first treatment today, so but I'll tell you guys. I think
it'll
be
a good thing.
I'm shocked that I'm feeling like as energized as I am right now.
Yeah.
Because usually this time of day I'm kind of winding down and I'm like ready to go for like a walk or something. I'm ready to go do something.
Yeah, that is very unusual.
I don't know.
Like around 2:00, you're burned out.
Well, I've been up a long time. Now, this town hall that J.D. Vance is doing, Democrats sometimes do town halls on TV. Kamala hasn't. Tim Walz hasn't. Democrats sometimes do town halls on television, but they're fake. They're set up. The questioners are they're pre-set up. They're friends and allies and everything else, and they're not real. They're fake. It's an illusion. This thing that J.D. Vance is doing is 100% organic. He's doing this town hall with complete strangers. They could be Democrat plants that are attending the rally that cause a ruckus.
I'd love to see Trump take questions from a rally.
I've seen him do it. He's done it. He hasn't done it lately, but I've seen him do it many times.
Oh, really? Like from people right there, spontaneous?
Yes, I've seen him do it several times, and he's really good at it. Yeah, I love when Trump does that. And J.D. Vance, every day when you see him talk, you can tell that Trump made, as always, the right decision. Now, something new came out about Tim Walz. This is insane. You got to remember, this lunatic is the governor, right, of Minnesota.
Oh, this is nuts.
And starting in July of next year, okay, it's August now. This is July of next year. In the state of Minnesota, to get your teaching license, they've changed what you have to do, okay? And listen to this. Starting next July, Minnesota will require applicants for a teacher's license from the state to affirm transgenderism and race Marxism. And if you don't do that, you don't get a...
Wait, and what about Marxism?
The 1619 Project and anti-racism.
Right.
That's race Marxism. You've got to affirm transgenderism and the 1619 Project.
That's nuts.
Stuff. And listen to this. This is the official thing. The teacher fosters an environment. This is what you got to agree to get your teacher's license in Minnesota starting next year. So if you're going to teach in Minnesota, you better get your license now.
So if you have your license, you don't have to do this. This is just for new teachers?
I wouldn't be so sure about that. You know how these leftists are. The teacher fosters an environment that ensures student identity, such as race, ethnicity, national origin, language, sex and gender identity, sexual orientation, physical, developmental, emotional ability, socioeconomic class, and religious beliefs are historically and socially contextualized, affirmed, and incorporated into a learning environment where students are empowered to learn and contribute to their whole selves.
Wait, religious beliefs? I thought that was the violation of church and state.
No, they don't.
So
they
I
don't
noticed there's nothing in there about education.
Yeah. Teachers renewing their licenses. So they expire every few years.
Right,
you have
to renew it. Yeah.
I don't know how long they are good for in Minnesota.
I can't remember, in
but
Florida.
They were a few years in Florida, but you had to renew it every few years. Teachers renewing their licenses must show evidence of self-reflection and discussion of topics that include gender identity, that includes transgendered students and sexual orientation.
How do you show evidence of that?
I don't know. They also must show that they understand bias in themselves.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah, in relation to race, sexual orientation, gender identity, and other things. So you got to show bias in yourself. So you got to go and tell them you're a racist, sexist, homophobe, transphobe.
That's insanity.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. If I was teaching there, I'd have to definitely quit.
You'd have to leave the state of Minnesota. That's scary.
Also, that is frightening. And I just have a feeling he wears ladies' underwear. But what's frightening is, what other government jobs is this filtering into? You know, a lot of it started with Trump and COVID, this mass overreach of the government. Yeah. And what other government jobs and our private companies, do they do this too? I'm sure there are some that do. I mean, remember there were private companies that would fire people because they wouldn't wear a mask? Are there private companies like Target or Lowe's? The CEO of Lowe's.
They backtracked on that, Lowe's.
Yeah, I bet. Are they also forcing their employees to pledge allegiance to this woke culture? I don't understand this at all, but they're going to lose all their employees and they're going down. I don't understand how this has not, Well, you know what? This is what's going to happen. That's crazy.
You know, when Trump is back in office, there's a lot of things he's going to crack down on.
Yeah.
As an example, something he's talked about, the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles. He's not going to allow in Los Angeles what happened, and the presidents have a lot of authority over that.
He also said he won't allow transgender surgery in the military
and he's not going to
or transgenders period
allow sex change operations on children. This is all
that's right.
You know, and what'll happen is the leadership tone will change, and like with a lot of other things, a lot of these things are going to fade away more so than you realize. Who's running the country has a lot of influence over the way things go, and what's happened.
Well, they set the tone.
That's
Just
exactly right.
Like in a corporation.
Right. That's correct.
If you have it's called the corporate culture, and if you have a corporation like Starbucks, okay, they had a major problem with their corporate culture. And you used to go and their employees were very rude and nasty. And that comes from the top and in the training and in the corporate culture. And now you go, at least locally where we are, and they're much friendlier. They're much nicer. So something in their corporate culture has changed where, you know what I mean? But all that starts at the top. So yes, the president definitely sets the tone of the country. And right now we're under a radicalized, insane. Well, he is more radical than Bernie Sanders.
Well,
he's more radical than Kamala Harris. He's a nutcase.
Kamala Harris is a radical Marxist. Both of her parents were Marxist. Her dad's still alive, by the way.
Well, they're saying that she's lying about where she grew up. She's telling everybody she grew up in Oakland.
Yeah.
But the New York Post reported she did not live in Oakland until she was in her 20s. She was born in Oakland for some reason, but she lived in Berkeley until she was 9.
Well, her parents taught there.
Right. But for some reason, her birth certificate lists her as Oakland. So maybe her mom was at the hospital. And like, I was born in Orlando, but I moved to South Florida when I was 6 months old. So that's where I grew up, in Fort Lauderdale, even though I was born in Orlando. Not that that matters. But she was born in Oakland on her birth certificate, but she didn't live there. She grew up in Berkeley.
Mm-hmm.
She's not telling people she grew up in Berkeley. And she lived there till she was 9, which is like a very radicalized town. And then she moved to Montreal.
Yeah,
which is like not even Canada. It's like living in Paris.
Kamala lived in Montreal with her Marxist mother, college professor, from age 12 to 18.
Yep.
And I don't know. I think this is true for most people. I know this is true for me. And you guys can let me know in the comments what you think about this. The way that I am today, I'm 53 years old now, right? With my
your low testosterone.
With my low testosterone. Well, not anymore, Kathy. I got
right.
the hormones today. But the way that I look at the world was so shaped by the ages of 11 to 18. Those years of my life, she lived in Canada from 12 to 18. Those years of my life were probably the most important years so far as shaping my whole worldview and how I view things. That doesn't mean you don't grow and change on things, but that's where you really become like immersed in the culture.
Here's what I'm wondering.
And she was in Canada at that time. She's not an American in her heart and mind.
Well, I've been to Montreal 3 times, and it's like being in Europe. It's not even like a Canadian city. And my cousin lived there for a long time, my cousin Bruce. Here's the thing, though. Does she speak French?
Absolutely. She's got to.
I would think.
Absolutely.
I mean, Montreal it's French there. Everything's French. I mean, they do have English on their signs, but in Canada,
barely.
All the products in Canada have English and French. But in Montreal, they speak English, but that is like a French. It's like being in France.
The French Canadians are militant there about it. I mean, there's no doubt.
So, but I've never heard her speak French.
John Kerry.
Maybe she doesn't.
When John Kerry was running for president, he speaks fluent French.
Have you ever heard Kamala speak French or reference that she speaks French?
Listen to this. John Kerry, when he was running for president, we all knew he spoke French, but you never heard him do it. A French reporter talked to him, and he talked to a French reporter in French. He got them to destroy that interview and embargo it so nobody could see him speaking French.
What
because
is the deal?
They thought it would make him look foreign if he spoke French on television. And Kamala, she's got to speak French, Kamala.
Well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure
you couldn't function.
I'll ask my mom because she's from Canada. I'm pretty sure that the schools in Montreal are French speaking. You know what I mean? That
bilingual. They're bilingual at least.
Are they bilingual or are they? But they've got to be predominantly French.
They lean French, but that's.
I mean, when the French Canadians all come down here,
English is the second language.
They all speak French.
Yeah, it's the second language.
English
is
so
the second
her
language.
schooling must have been.
She's got to speak French.
That's what I'm saying. I'd like a reporter to do a really deep dive on her upbringing because she's very vague about it. We know very little. When Barack Obama ran, he wrote a book about himself before he ran. I'm sure a lot of it was.
Oh, please.
Bill
Ayers wrote the book.
Nonsense.
He had a ghostwriter. Bill Ayers wrote that book.
But it at least kind of gave you a little bit of a clue.
A BS clue.
But with her, we know absolutely nothing about her. And I'm really surprised a reporter has not traveled around to Montreal, to Oakland, to interview people.
Well, they're liberal jerks, Kathy.
And but there's conservative reporters that could do this. Miranda Devine, I keep mentioning her. She should do this.
Yeah,
she should do a deep dive and do a whole expose. It could be like a 4-part thing before the election on Kamala's upbringing. Nobody has done this. Please, somebody do this. Take it upon yourself to do a deep dive, go to where she grew up and find out the truth because she is very, very vague about her past.
Yeah.
About her career.
She's hiding it. And the media don't want you to know.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know.
Nobody's presenting any records of anything or any. So she's lying about a lot of things. And I think that needs to be exposed. I mean, you got J.D. Vance. He's got a book. Mm-hmm. He's got a movie. He talks about it all the time.
He's taking questions live on TV.
Trump's written books. We know all about Trump. He's been in the media for 40 years. We know him from TV and from the books and people and things about his family. We know very little about
next to nothing
about her.
Next to nothing. Yeah. Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, guys. And if you'd like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the program. Remember, Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our episodes too, okay? And our top Patreon supporters get a live, on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you're going to hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank you, Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, John, Rick, Nick, Macho, Wesley, Mike P, Paulette, Carlos, K-Mac, Richard, Alice, David, Heather, Maria in Texas, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much. Well, you weren't there with us in the beginning, Kathy, but you finished the show. You came back.
I just had a massive headache from this medication I'm on, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So I had to lay down and just try to relax a bit. I put up a poll on your YouTube about Mark Zuckerberg. I spelled his name Mark wrong. I'm sorry. Mark Zuckerberg has become MAGA, maybe. How do you feel about this? So your choices are, it's awesome, he is redeemed, I still don't trust him, and the art of the deal. So right now we've had almost 300 votes. Most people say they still don't trust him. The way you could tell is if your Facebook posts are still getting deleted or flagged. You know, if you post articles or something, and they're still getting removed for, what they like to call, what's the word they use? Not like inaccurate, but false information. Then you're still being censored. I tell you, Elon Musk buying X has been an absolute game changer, because if it was still run by Dorsey, it would be a totally different situation right now.
Oh, yeah.
And Trump is on X all the time, tweeting all the time. So make sure he's up to 90 million followers. Let's get him to 100. That would be incredible.
He needs to be. Well, listen, we are out of time for today. We will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll see you next time.